The coronavirus health crisis has exacted a once unimaginable human toll, but it has not caused a stock market crash. Why? The financial crash has been cushioned by long-term demographic trends. Interest rates are near zero, and inflation is nowhere near the Federal Reserve's 2% target rate. As a result, the massive aid packages are costing the U.S. government next to nothing. The Personal Consumption Expenditure Deflator is the inflation index against which the Fed sets interest rate policy, and it's been trending at 1.5% annually for a decade. Inflation stubbornly stayed low, not behaving as the Fed expected year after year, a trend that's being driven by aging populations in developed economies worldwide, and population trends in Europe, Japan, or China are long-term conditions. That means the Fed can expand the money supply without rousing inflation. It means U.S. government largesse is cheap money. Boosting relief in packages like the Paycheck Protection Program for business owners, Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for food stamps, and the hike to unemployment insurance compensation payments adds a negligible amount to the long-term debt. The U.S. government responded to the economic crisis caused by the pandemic with the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act, the CARES Act. CARES funded $2.2 trillion in government spending. It's the largest government spending program in history. CARES initially extended $349 billion in loans to business owners in need under a Small Business Administration initiative called the Paycheck Protection Program. PPP loans are forgiven if you spend the money within 8 weeks to retain your employees. The initial $349 billion ran out in days and was replenished with another $310 billion in additional government aid. And a third tranche could occur because of the low cost of funding the programs at this critical juncture. But you must act quickly to apply for PPP because it is being offered on a first-come, first-served basis. PPP is a safety net for businesses with fewer than 500 employees. Mom-and-pop shops, restaurants, professional services, and other small businesses that create about 70% of the jobs in the U.S. Sole proprietors, independent contractors, and self-employed individuals also qualify for PPP. PPP provides small businesses with funds to pay up to 8 weeks of payroll and expenses, including salary and wages, commissions, tips, paid leave, employer-paid health insurance and health care payments, retirement benefit payments, interest on mortgages, rent and utilities, certain independent contractors. If you use the loan to pay for qualified expenses within 8 weeks and at least 75% of the loan is spent on compensating employees, your loan could be completely forgiven. The maximum PPP loan you are eligible to receive is 2.5 times your average monthly payroll for the past 12 months for the 8-week period, subject to limitations. If you pay more than $100,000 a year to an employee, the excess over $100,000 does not count toward the maximum loan you may qualify to receive. The maximum loan a company can get is $10 million. Say you have 10 employees and you paid them $1 million in total compensation for the past 12 months. Your average monthly payroll was $83,333. Your maximum loan would be 2.5 times the $83,333 in monthly payroll, or $208,333. Backed by the financial might of the U.S. government, PPP gives business owners incentive to retain all or most of their employees through the crisis. Averting the need to rebuild staff after the epidemic passes will speed the recovery. No collateral or personal guarantees are required to qualify for the PPP, and the government will pay the origination and other costs for administering these loans. Again, you must use the proceeds to pay for qualified expenses within 8 weeks for the loan to be forgiven. And not only is the loan forgiven if you meet those terms, but it will also be deductible as an operational expense. The loan application requires that you sign a good faith certification. This is a pledge to the United States government, and the penalty for lying can lead to criminal as well as civil charges and fines. You're stating that the loan is necessary to support ongoing operations, retain employees, and pay for eligible expenses, and the penalty for lying is up to a $1 million fine and 30 years prison at stake. If you are sitting on 6 or 12 months of liquid assets on hand that you can use to fund your operations, for example, you may not be able to certify that the loan is necessary. However, even if your business turns out to be more profitable during the crisis, you may still qualify for a forgivable loan due to the unprecedented level of uncertainty and resolve of the government to revive the economy swiftly. The intent of the Paycheck Protection Program is to enable your business to continue to pay employees, including contractors, through the partial shutdown of the economy from February 15, 2020 through June 30, 2020. If you reduce your payroll, your loan amount will not be fully forgiven. Calculating how much of your loan would be forgiven after reducing your payroll requires personal decisions about personnel and calculations by a professional about your personal situation. To comply with PPP rules, you may want to segregate the loan proceeds in a separate account that your company will tap only to pay for qualified expenses. Applying for a PPP loan can be a critically important business planning decision for a small business owner to make amid the swirling COVID-19 crisis. Please contact us if you have any questions.